Yeah, back here with another what if. This what if is going to be what if Naruto was Tomura Shigaraki from My Hero Academia. If you all don't know, Tomura Shigaraki has two quirks. Well, he has one in the anime, but two in the manga. Two plus more in the manga, actually. So, manga spoilers ahead for My Hero Academia. Tomo Shigaraki actually has his quirks are decay and one for all. They're not one for all for one. Decay it allows you the ability to whatever you touch, it basically starts decaying. Like it starts turning to dust. And all for one, it basically allows you to steal other people's quirks. But for this, I'm gonna make it Kekkei Genkai because I could feel that coming in handy later. Maybe. It's kind of like a if I want to, he will start stealing them, but I don't really know, so he may not. And just a bit of background information. Deku actually has one sibling, Naruko Uzumaki. She acts basically like canon Naruto, kind of like a bumbling idiot at times, but also very kind and very generous. And Naruto, on the other hand, he'll act more secluded, more to himself, and that's actually due to him being beaten on a regular basis by the village. So he kind of stopped caring about the village at a certain point. Like there is no one in the village that he likes other than his sister. And before y'all say, "Oh, what about the third Hokage? What about Saratobi?" Well, every time Saratobi looks at Naruto, he gets this feeling like he's afraid of Naruto basically. So he tries to stay away from Naruto as much as possible. But for Naruto, on the other hand, she's perfectly fine. Or yeah, basically Saratobi or Hiruzen, the third Hokage, he'll talk to Naruto all day long, but for Naruto, he'll try to avoid him by any means necessary. Like anything. Like he'll start making up excuses just so he doesn't have to be around him. And actually what'll happen is like due to the beatings that Naruto gets on like a regular basis from the villagers, all that stress actually it basically slowly turned Naruto's hair white. Like, due to all the stress, his hair was slowly turning white until it basically became basically as white as Shigaraki's hair, like you see on the screen. Just perfectly white. Just kind of blinding almost. And, like, crap. What Naruto, like, the amount of damage he has to deal with on a regular basis leaves him very scarred and very wounded. Basically, his body looks kind of like this, just full of nothing but wounds and scars. Yeah, kind of like this one. It leaves him with these types of wounds all over his body, like just everywhere. But when he was born, he ended up getting like none of the of Kuruma's chakra, but ended up getting Kuruma's soul instead, while Naruto got like all of Kuruma's chakra. So, like, Naruto's kind of hated more because he has like the mind and the soul of the Nine Tails, while she has the body. But Danzo didn't really say anything to the villagers about, Naruto having some of the nine, or not some, having the Nine Tails chakra. So basically, they all just kind of, like, all the villagers just kind of gang up on Naruto any chance they get, leaving him, well, like I said, incredibly wounded and brutal. Like, imagine the wounds that he has now, or that he has in this photo, but make them a lot bigger and with a lot of blood kind of seeping out of them at times. So, what Naruto would do is he starts developing, or not develop, like he starts training. Like he starts training his body very hard and very rough, because in his mind he's like, I can't do what already has, like, I can't do what they already haven't done to me. Like, whatever they've done, like, whatever I do, they've already done to me, so I'll be fine. I've gotten used to it. Because he's, due to all the years of them, like, completely, like, just beating on Naruto, he actually slowly lost the ability to feel pain. To the point where, like, he doesn't feel anything. You could cut his arm off, and he just, the only thing to go through his mind is just tis but a scratch. And that's about it. But what, like, what Naruto has to deal with is she basically same stuff as Naruto, just kind of being ignored every now and then due to being the brother of that demon. But she still loves him the same, so he doesn't really care what they think of him. As long as he has her, he's fine. And like everything basically does kind of go as canon, but with instead of Naruto, it's Naruto, and Naruto being a lot taller and a lot older, because he'll be about like 20 ish. Well, not 20. He'll be, yeah, actually, yeah, he'll be 20. And everyone else in Naruto will be aged up to about like 17. So yeah, he's gonna be pretty, like, he's gonna be older than them by a good margin. So basically, yeah, basically Naruto is essentially Naruto in this part. Like, basically Naruto, she's doing everything that Naruto does. She does, like, she does the talk no jutsu. She goes to the land of waves to protect Tazuna. Like, basically Naruto, he's at home basically just either training, sleeping, or cleaning up the house. And like, it be in between those, three things, Naruto will occasionally get beat every now and then by the village. Just if he bumps into someone the wrong way and they start beating on him, the rest of the village will join in, leaving Naruto to be, quite scarred. Like I said, just kind of full of scars and full of injuries on his body, no matter what. And Naruto, well, he's basically rocking the same stuff that Shigaraki is rocking. Basically, just kind of that all black, like, trench coat or cloak with, just some black pants. He doesn't really bother with shoes because he's like, what's the point? I can't feel pain. So there's no real purpose in me doing this, or there's no real purpose in me wearing shoes if I don't even feel pain, so I'll be fine. Like, there's no point in protecting something I can't even feel, type of thing. And what Naruto, like, yeah, basically Naruto, he does those three things. He trains, he sleeps, he helps around the house, while Naruto, she's basically doing everything that Canon Naruto did up until the Sasuke retrieval mission. Because yes, a Naruto is in Naruto is a ninja, so they call him in to do to help out in the Sasuke retrieval mission. And I mean, it most for most of it, it goes the same as canon, with slight thing that only Naruto noticed was Saratobi kind of glancing away from Naruto, like not looking at him, and he was kind of shaking every time he mentioned Naruto's name. So Naruto, he's kind of sad because he's like, that was one of the only people that he cared about, only to find out that that person fears him as well. Because Hiruzen wasn't there during the Nine Tails attack. But, well, I'm just gonna say kind of what happened during the Nine Tails attack that no one knows about. Like, no one at all. Except Hiruzen. Or not really, like, he knows what happened, but he's kind of getting some type of thought through his mind about it. But when Minato and Kushina got stabbed by the Nine Tails, what happened was they reached their hands out to, just cradle their child one last time before they died. And as they were doing that, Naruto grabbed onto Kushina and Minato's fingers and started decaying them to the point where they were completely ash. But, before Minato was fully gone, he gave the soul of the Nine Tails to Naruto. And basically, like, back to the main part, like flashback over. Like, so the Sasuke retrieval mission, it goes as canon, except instead of Naruto facing off against Sasuke, or instead of Naruto in this case facing off against Sasuke, it would actually be, well, Naruto. But this time Naruto would actually win and bring Sasuke back. But in the process, he ended up decaying, without him knowing, he ended up decaying one of Sasuke's arms right off. Didn't kill Sasuke, but took his arm off. Ahead of time, I guess. And, Kakashi walks up to this and he sees this, and in his mind, he's like, oh God, Naruto, what did you do this time? While, Sakura walks up, and her being her normal simp self, she's like, Sasuke-kun, and runs over to him being a simp as usual, while Naruto runs over to Naruto, who's basically badly injured with a scar kind of like this on his in his basically in his stomach, well, hole like that in his stomach. And, they get them back to the hospital, and, Naruto, he's in, like, bad condition, because he's bleeding from a lot, because a whole lot of his scars opened up again, plus that giant hole that was in his stomach, or on the side of his stomach, like, hitting his kidneys. So, he had to immediately get some type of, like, he had to get some surgery done and everything to heal himself. And while that's happening, Narco, she's just bawling her eyes out. Like, she is just crying because that's the only family she has left. That's her brother, basically. And while that's happening, like, Sakura is like, Sakura's basically hating on Naruto because Sakura's like, ugh, that damn demon. That demon hurt my Sasuke-kun. You know, being normal Sakura, basically. But just a little bit, not little, being a lot meaner than canon. And Naruto full power just punches Sakura right in the face and just says, shut up. Shut up, shut up. Like, if anything, your precious Sasuke-kun nearly killed my brother. He's the only person I have left. And Sakura's like, well, if you ask me, Sasuke-kun should have killed that demon when he had the chance. And Naruto, hearing this, just slaps Sakura again and then just storms off, leaving Sakura kind of shocked because, she just kind of got hit 2 times. And basically, like, Naruto basically, like, he's unconscious right now while the surgery is happening, and he's talking to the soul of Kurama. And, Naruto wakes up, he's in this, like, sewer type place, and he's like, where the hell am I? I shouldn't be here. And he, like, Naruto will look around for a minute and then he'll see this giant cave and he's like, I wonder what's in there. And as he says that, a giant red eye will just open and stare right at Naruto, and he's like, so you're the Nine Tails everyone keeps talking about. You don't seem like much. As the Nine Tails is like, what did you just say to me, you little brat? And Naruto's like, you heard me. You don't seem like much. You're just a fox. As Naruto, not Naruto, Kurama really wants to hurt Naruto, but he can't because of the seal. So he's just kind of stuck, like, basically just kind of taking it, basically, because that was all he could do, due to the seal. So, Naruto, he's just kind of ripping into Kurama. When, Naruto starts fading, and Kuruma's like, oh, finally. This damn brat will finally get out of here. And Naruto, he's like, what the hell? Hey, big fox, what's happening to me? And Kuruma's like, you're leaving me alone. Bye now. He's full on happy. He's like, goodbye. As Naruto will basically fade away and wake up back in the real world. He'll wake up in a hospital bed. He feels like a sharp pain in his side. He moves his hospital gown and he looks at his side to, see a giant scar there because Kurama chose to be nice and healed him up a little, leaving the scar. And while that was happening, once a nurse will walk in and then see Naruto. And she's surprised because she's like, you shouldn't be waking up yet. You shouldn't be waking up at all. And Naruto's like, what do you mean? And the nurse is like, well, we just told your sister that you were in a coma. And Naruto's like, oh, well, I guess could you tell her that I'm not? And nurse is like, yeah, just give me a second. And nurse walks away. And in his head, he's like, what the hell happened? How long was I out? As he looks over to see a clock on his wall, and he's like, 6:13. So I was out for a good portion of the day. Alright. And right as he's done thinking that, Naruto runs in, full on, just bursts straight through the door, and it's just like, Oni-chan, and just, basically jumps onto him, giving him a giant bear hug. As Naruto, he does kind of scream out in pain, because when she hugged him, she was squeezing him kind of tight, which was putting pressure right on his fresh wound. So, like, at this point, he hasn't fully lost the ability to pain. Like, for extreme amounts of damage, he can feel it, but for like simple cuts, he'll be fine. But due to it being basically a hole, he did feel that a lot. So he screamed out in pain. So yeah, just retcon what I said about him being able to like fully not feel pain. He does, like, at the moment he can feel pain, but later he won't. And basically, like, she's hugging onto him. He's like, hey, you're gonna kill me, so can you please let go? And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna let go now. And, as she lets go, two Ambu members, they come in. And they're like, Naruto Uzumaki, you are you have been called by the Hokage. Please come with us. And Naruto's like, what the hell? I just woke up from a very hard battle. And Ambu are like, we don't care. The Hokage has requested you to come. And so you must listen. And he's like, you know what? Fine. He grabs onto one of the Ambu as the Ambu body flicker straight to the Hokage, straight to Hiruzen. And once they get there, Naruto will look at Hiruzen and he's like, "So what do you want from me, old man? Cause I know you're not here to be nice." As Naruto would kind of give Hiruzen kind of a death stare in a way. And while he's doing that, Hiruzen will, get kind of a like huge chill down his spine, and then he'll say, Naruto Uzumaki, by request of the council, you have been banished from the Hidden Leaf. And Naruto's eyes widen. He's like, what? You can't do that to me. As Hiruzen's like, I'm sorry, Naruto, but it's already been chosen that you are to leave the village. And Naruto's like, you know what? Fine. If I come back and destroy this village, it's on you all, not on me. So he runs out of there and he goes back to the house where Naruto's waiting. And he walks in and she's like, oh, big brother, you're back. And Naruto's like, no time to talk. I have to go. And Naruto's like, where are you going? And Naruto says with a very sad tone in his voice, he's like, the Hokage ordered me to leave the village, so that's all I can do. I have to follow his orders. As Naruto just, her jaw just drops. Like, she's like, what? The Hokage banished you? And he's like, yep, and there's nothing I can do about it. And, she's crying, and she's like, please, big brother, please don't go. And he's like, I'm sorry, but I have to. So, Naruto, he'll stop hugging Naruto, because, while she was crying, she kind of latched onto him. So, he'll stop hugging her, and he'll walk towards the door of their house. He'll open it, he'll say goodbye, for now at least. And he'll walk on through the door, closing it back, as, Naruto, she just bursts out crying as Naruto walks off. He hears Naruto crying, and he sheds a few tears himself. And as he's going, they're like every single person in the village, they're just all pelting rocks at Naruto. They're like, demon, yeah, that's what you get. Yeah, it's a celebration. The demon is finally leaving our village. Finally, we got rid of that damn demon. And, like, they're just going on and on about him. As Naruto basically, he makes it to the gates where he turns around and he sees Naruto like sprinting straight at him, and he's like, what the heck, why is she doing that? And then she jumps on him saying, big brother, and hugs him one last time. And she's like, please don't go, I can't do anything without you. And he's like, it's fine, you'll do just fine without me. And her not wanting to let go, she runs back to the house. Like, she lets go, runs back to the house, and, Naruto, he turns around and, he starts walking through the gates. And, he makes it, like, he's going, like, he's walking and he's going with a little bag of his stuff on his back and everything, and he's just going. And then, like, about an hour or so later, he hears footsteps behind him. He turns around and he sees Naruto running straight at him, and he's like, what the heck? And like, she runs up to him and she stops and she's like, I'm not leaving you, I'm coming with you, big brother. And he's like, what? Naruto, you were supposed to stay in the village. And she's like, no, I'm coming with you. See, as she shows the big backpack, well, on her back. And Naruto, he's like, but forget it. And, he just chuckles to himself, and he's like, here, want me to hold your bag for you? And she's like, please, thank you, it's heavy. He's like, alright. And throws it onto his shoulder, and now they're just walking together. And let's just say Hiruzen found out about this, and like, the village found out that Naruto left to kind of chase after Naruto. And Danzo, hearing about this, actually sent some of his own personal Anbu, his root Anbu, to go inform the neighboring, like, not like villages, but little towns of Naruto and Naruto. And they're like basically telling him that Naruto put Naruto under a genjutsu and all that stuff, basically kind of brainwashing her to have her follow him. And as they're like, once the Anbu do that, like a whole bunch of towns surrounding the village, they all kind of despise Naruto, because they're like, wow, I didn't think he'd do this to someone, let alone his own sister, type of deal. And what Naruto, like, basically Naruto and Naruto, they get to the village, or not to the village, they get to a random town. I'm not gonna try and think of a name for the town, but they get to a random town, and Naruto, like, he's just getting rocks pelted at him, sticks. Like, some people actually tried hitting him with a couple of jutsu just to get him away. Like, so Naruto's running and Naruto's chasing after him, and they tried grabbing her, but Naruto just kicked that person away and like, just kind of grabbed Naruto and ran. So they're all like searching for where Naruto's at, because he's kind of laying low for the moment with Naruto. And we're just gonna do like a quick time skip to about like 5 or so weeks, or not 5 weeks, or 5 days, where Naruto, he wakes up one day and he notices that Naruto's not near him. And when Naruto's like sneaking around the town trying to find her, he finds a whole bunch of men, like men and women, they're all like throwing stuff at her. Because what happened was, Danzo's men, they came back to the village after telling them that Naruto brainwashed Naruto into following him. The Anbu came back like a couple days later and said that Naruto is actually the son of, or not son, the daughter of the person who's kind of controlling over the village. Because it's not Gato, but it's just some random blonde haired dude who's not gonna be around for much longer. And the Anbu basically say that, well, Naruto is, you know, the son or the daughter of that tyrant, because he's kind of ruling over the town, kind of like how Gato was. And so, like, out of rage, Naruto, he'll jump in, he'll jump in front of all the rocks coming at Naruto, and he'll take the hits for her, and he picks her up while getting pelted with rocks. And as he does this, like, he's getting mad because she's bleeding, she's crying, and like she's very like hurt. Luckily, Naruto does know some ninjutsu from, just some scrolls he found in the library. So he does know some medical ninjutsu. So Naruto goes to the edge of that town, heals up Naruto, and then goes to the main road in that town. And in that road, like, something in Naruto kind of clicks, because at that time Naruto's hair, like, tips of it were slowly becoming, like, his hair was slowly becoming more and more white until now, where his hair is basically just kind of like this. It's just that pure white. And out of rage, basically Naruto will do this. Basically, Naruto does that to the entire town, basically just decimating the entire town. Like, he puts both of his hands on the ground and just does that. Like, he just decimates the whole town, turning it all to nothing but just flat land, just dust, leaving everyone in there just, well, dead. And, like, he heals up Naruto, and then, he just takes her with him. Like, he just kind of puts her on his back, and, they just walk for a couple more miles until they reach another small town. But in that town, in that town, they can see, like, as they're walking through the town, they can see a little girl being, not really, yeah, kind of like abused the same way Naruto was treated. Just kind of getting beat on and everything by the entire village. And Naruto, him seeing this, it would actually it would piss him off greatly. Like, he is royally pissed. So, what Naruto does is he'll grab onto the first person he sees that's beating on the little girl, and he just immediately just turns him to dust. Like, his whole body just turns to ash and nothing. Like, in a matter of seconds. Now, everyone's seeing this, they're afraid. Naruto's like, if you all don't want to end up like him, I'd recommend you start running. As they just scatter, like, every civilian there, they just run. Like, they run for the hills. Showing, like, leaving Naruto to be with this, small little girl. And he's like, hello there, what's your name? And, like, she's stuttering and she's very scared, wearing kind of like a lab coat, well, not like a lab coat, like a hospital gown, but it's covering everywhere, not just the front. If you've been in the hospital, you know what I'm talking about. But she's in a hospital gown like that, where it's covering everything, and she actually says, My name's Eri, as she kind of looks up at him and her eyes kind of sparkle a little. Like she's like, "You look like me." Yes, everyone, I'm putting Eri in this. They look alike, so fuck you. I'm adding her. I feel like it, and I feel like it would work. And Naruto, he's like, yeah, I do look like you. Why are you asking? And like she is smiling and everything, and she kind of looks up at him, kind of like this, and she's like, "Are you my papa?" And he's like, he just kind of freezes, like he just kind of stops what he's doing, as Narco just starts like dying, like she's just rolling on the floor laughing, like her sides are hurting and everything, and like Naruto not really knowing what to do or what to say, he's just like, yes, I guess. And she's like, "You are my papa," and just jumps right on, like she just like jumps onto him with him, grabbing her and just kind of putting her on his shoulders, taking him with. And Narco's like, "Are you really gonna take her with?" And he's like, "Damn straight I am. If you think I'm not, then there's something wrong with you. Because, yeah, I'm taking her with. She looks like me." And Naruto's like, or Naruto is like, "Okay, then, I guess she's going along for the ride with us. Or she's coming along with us on the ride." And, they travel, like, a couple more miles. I'll say, like, 5. Before, they stop and they finally rest and they sit down and, they start sleeping. And as they're sleeping, like they're sleeping up in trees so that, no one can just easily run up on them and grab them. They're sleeping in trees and everything, and, morning comes around. They wake up and Naruto, Naruto wakes up first and he decides that he should probably get a summoning. He's like, "I should probably get one of those summonings or summons that everyone was talking about." And what like what Naruto does is he kind of walks off to this cliff area, and as he's walking off, Naruto and Eri, they both wake up and they see that he's gone, and they hear someone walking off, so they decide to follow it. The person walking off being Naruto, of course. So as Naruto and Eri are, you know, following Naruto, they reach the cliff and they find where Naruto's at, and then they see him like kind of start meditating in a way. I don't know how summons work. I haven't seen Naruto in a while, so I'm kind of going off of what I distinctly remember. So yeah. And like what happens is Naruto, like, he's meditating there for a minute, and, he kind of like he's thinking about what his animal should be, and he's like, it should probably be something with wings. I don't really like any of the animals on land. I like birds more. And as he's like thinking about birds, all of a sudden, like, he gets this strange feeling and he stands up, and as he stands up, a giant flock of birds just, well, surround him. Pretend instead of it being Itachi, it's, well, Naruto. With one uh, crow specifically landing on Naruto. And that crow will actually end up having the Kyuubi's eyes instead of how Itachi's crow has the Sharingan in it. Naruto's crow is going to have Chroma's eyes. Just for why not purposes, I guess. And yes, Naruto still has one for all, or not one for all. He still has all for one, and he just used Decay not too long ago when he was taking out that village. So he like, so he's wondering like what other stuff, like what other things can he do with it, like with these crows. And then like he finds out that there's many ways he can try and kind of traverse around with those crows. One of them being, well, kind of like teleporting, but it teleports to people and places First time he does it, he kind of like how Itachi does, he just kind of turns into a whole bunch of crows and then appears right next to Eri, leaving, Eri and Naruto to kind of freak out. They're like, what the hell? How'd you get over here? Or, well, that's what Naruto says, while, like, Eri, she just kind of screamed because she was like, how'd he get here? Type of stuff. And Naruto's like, I don't know, I just thought of being next to Eri and now I'm here. Leaving, Naruto started teasing him and was like, "Aw, you're actually acting like a father, even though this is like your second day of being one." And Naruto's like, "Shut up if you want me to not turn you to dust." And she's like, "Oh, okay, shutting up now." He's like, "Good." As Eri, she's like, "Ooh, Papa, can you teach me how to do that? Can you teach me how to do that?" And he's like, "Uh, when you get older, I'll teach you." And like she's like, "Oh, okay then. I guess I'll have, I guess I have to wait." And he's like, "Good girl," and pats her on the head, with her being quite happy. Just think of Aries' normal smile, just how heartwarming it is. That's basically what Naruto saw. And in his mind, he's like, I must protect this child with my life. She is too innocent to let die. And then he's like, I was gonna take care of her anyway, whether or not if she was cute. She's still a kid. And Naruto picks up Eri and he's like, alright, now it's time for us to continue on our adventure. And Naruto's like, yay. With like Naruto, she says it very bored, while Eri, she's like, yay, let's go. We're finally going. And Naruto's like, yep, hope you're ready. And they start running along the trees and everything, with Naruto following, but Eri being on Naruto's back, just for easy traversal. It's easier to go. It's easier to move like that. Until they reach a crap. I don't really know what to put it. Like, they basically reach a cave for the night. Well, yeah, they reach a cave for the night, and as they're walking throughout the cave, basically Eri and Naruto are just kind of staring at each other like this, with Eri wanting Naruto to pick her up, but Naruto, being tired after carrying her for so long, is like, yeah, no, I'm not picking you up worth a damn. And then, like, all of a sudden they just hear a deep growl as, they look, they're looking into the cave, and then, big ass bear just comes out. So Naruto, being Naruto, he gets ready to fight it. So, he touches, like, he's running at it, and, Naruto, she's flipping out because she's like, oh crap, I need to help him. While Eri, she's kind of thinking that her father is gonna get hurt. Like, she's thinking, oh, Papa's gonna get hurt. And then Naruto just runs up and just touches it. Just touches the bear with all 5 fingers right on its stomach. And before the bear can even react, it just starts rapidly turning to dust. And the bear's like, it's groaning out in pain because this does hurt, I might add. Like, being decayed, it does hurt, even though it's fast, but it still does hurt. So, like Naruto, he's being like very cautious about like what he should do every now and then. Like, not caught, like basically, like, not Naruto. Naruto, she's like, I need to get stronger so that I can help him out. And Aries thinking the same thing because she doesn't want her father to keep doing stuff like that, and he almost dies. And before like they're about to lay down and everything, like it's been a few hours, they've eaten already, and Naruto's like, all right, there's a lake nearby. We should probably go like clean ourselves off and everything. And like Eri goes with Naruto while Naruto goes, off to his own part of the lake. And like basically Eri's kind of spying on Naruto, not in like a perverted way, but just kind of seeing, just kind of like wants to keep her eye on her father, because she is kind of worried about him sometimes, because Naruto does, like, every now and then, he will scratch his neck, kind of like how Shigaraki would. And she notices that, and, Eri is kind of, like, wondering why he does that. So just to see if he's gonna do it again, she, watches him. And, if he does, she's gonna tell him to stop. Until, well, Naruto will take off his, well, not take off, basically, like, she'd look around for him, and then she'd turn around, like, she'd look around a rock, and, she'd see Naruto on the other side of the rock, and, she would just see all these cuts and all these scars on him, with the one she sees the most being, well, the scar that Sasuke gave him. Or at least I'm just gonna say Sasuke gave it to him in this. And she kind of, like, she starts crying a little, so like she swims up, like she kind of swims over to Naruto very fast, and just hugs him. With Naruto being like, "Wait, what the hell's happening?" And she's like, "Papa, why didn't you tell me you were hurt?" And Naruto's like, "But I'm not, Eri, I'm fine." And she's like, "But what about your arms and your stomach and your chest?" And he's like, "These are just old scars. They'll be fine." And like Eri, Eri does, like, she does have scars on her arm, kind of like how she did in My Hero Academia, but it's like she's doing the same, like she does the same stuff that she did in canon. She covers them up, or they're covered up. And Naruto, like, knowing that she covers them up, he'll kind of do something like this, and he'll show his arms, which are full of scars, and he's like, "See, it's fine. I have scars too, so you don't have to hide them." And she starts tearing up, and she hugs onto him and just starts like bawling. And I might add, by the time Naruto is showing the scars, they're already out of the bathroom. He's just getting his shirt on. Like they did their whole showering and everything. Or not showering, but bathing and everything. And what I meant by her looking on the rock was a rock on land. And she saw Naruto putting his shirt on, basically, so she saw his scars. But back to the thing. Basically, like, she's bawling on him, and like she, like, not bawling, but like, yeah, she's crying on him and everything. Like, she is just sobbing. While Naruto is like, "It's fine. If you have scars, it means you survived, right?" And like she, like, while sniffling, she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "That's good that you survived. Now, just do like Papa's doing and survive as long as you can. Survive. Survive until you feel like you shouldn't. Or, not survive until you feel like you shouldn't. Like, survive until you feel like your body can't. survive any longer. And she's like, okay, Papa, I promise. I'm going to survive for you and Auntie Naruko. And he's like, see, that's the spirit. While Naruko, like, she's like in a tree, just kind of listening to them, she's kind of smiling to herself. And then, she hops down from the tree while walking over to him, and she's like, so, are you all done with your little father-daughter moment? Both Naruto and Eri just kind of look at her and just say, like, they both kind of look at her like this, and they just look back at her and they just say, shut up, like, simultaneously, causing her to get kind of, like, hurt. And, like, what, like, afterwards, like, once they're done and everything, Naruto gets his shirt on, they're done bathing, they've already ate, so, they just go to sleep. They wake up and, it's been a while since they left the village and since they met Eri and everything, so Naruto feels like it's a good time to start teaching Eri some new moves and teaching Naruto some new moves. So he teaches Eri about, just chakra control, because her Kekkei Genkai is going to be, well, rewind. It's going to be her quirk. So basically what Naruto teaches her is he teaches Eri about chakra control and, the whole water walking and tree walking, which he actually does pretty good at. And Naruto, he actually teaches her a wind style jutsu. So he's like, Naruto, copy these hand signs. And, he does the hand signs, and then he goes, wind style, great breakthrough, as he shoots out a huge gust of air, blowing back a lot of stuff. And she's like, whoa, that's cool. And he's like, oh, you think that's cool? Try to do it. She's like, okay, and like, she does it. It takes her a minute, but she gets the hang of it, and she finally does it. Wind style, great breakthrough, and shoots out a, gust of wind. And then Naruto, he says, fire style, fireball jutsu, and he shoots out a fireball, and, they fuse together, making a bigger fireball, which does more damage, basically, like, taking out, like, 6 trees, which leaves Naruto dumbfounded. And, like, Eri, who was watching this, she's like, ooh, I want to do that with Papa. I want to do that. And Naruto's like, Eri, did you finish your training yet? And she's like, no. And he's like, go do your training. Then we'll do it together. So she's like, okay. And, runs back over to her tree and continues doing the same stuff. And you know what? That for now, that's where I'm gonna leave it off, because I am actually kind of tired. Maybe in like a couple days, like maybe like 2, or tomorrow on Monday, I may make part 2 to if Naruto was Shanks. That part may be funny, or an 18 plus. I don't know. Depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling in a jokester mood, I'll make it funny, or funnier than it was going to be. If I'm feeling horny, I'll just make it 18 plus. So yeah, that'll be Maru Chia signing off with today's video. See you all later.